welcome back. You're watching the Young Turks Dream Decade. On the Young Turks tutorial, it's time for us to put together Varun Agarwal and Ron Malhotra, the founders of almamaterstore.in, with Mukesh Bansal of Myntra.com. Now, almamaterstore.in, the idea behind it is very simple. They offer you merchandise that takes you back to school and college. So far, the duo have tied up with 16 institutions. They've got a run rate of 7 lakh rupees every month, but they're hoping to step on the gas. Can Mukesh help them do that? Let's find out. Varun Agarwal and Ron Malhotra are banking on the first mover advantage to tap the largely unorganized school memorabilia space. In just a year, their online retail venture, almamaterstore.in, has tied up with 16 schools and colleges to design and customize offerings like t-shirts, sweatshirts and even mugs and stickers. Having started with personal savings of 2 lakh rupees, their e-tail venture today grosses revenues of 7 lakh rupees every month. And Alma Mater is looking to reach out to 50 schools by the year end.
Our next step is to scale up. But how?
Having cracked pricing and apparel ranging between 300 to 600 rupees, Varun and Ron are also looking to enter the sports merchandise segment.
So should e-commerce continue to be our focus?
So an expanding portfolio and a move to on-ground retail will require funds.
So what's a VC going to look for in a venture like ours?
We decided to connect them with Mukesh Bansal of Myntra.com, a serial entrepreneur and our young Turk from 2008. Selling 1,000 pieces of merchandise every day, Myntra.com is one of India's most successful e-commerce ventures and has raised 2 rounds of funding worth $20 million from Accel Partners and IDG Ventures.
When looking to scale up the business, what do you think are the key areas that we should focus on and the key transitions we need to make?
Try to identify areas in your business where you think something is working and can be easily multiplied. Somewhere you put a lot of money, you get little ROI, you don't want to multiply that. So try to identify very precise things which can be easily multiplied. Second thing is you need to understand the overall market really well. These many students are there, this is the overall alumni, this is the product they buy, this is the ASP, this is the way we can contact them. In terms of key transition, first big transition is definitely going from self-funded business to a venture funded, because to scale up the business you need a lot of money. Second transition is expanding the team. So figuring out when and how you want to bring more experienced people on board. I think the second big transition.
What do you think a VC would look for while funding a venture like ours? And more importantly, how should we prepare for that all-important VC pitch?
First thing they look for is how big is the market. VCs are interested in funding only in very large businesses. If you can point to things, look, this is working for me, I've proven it in Bangalore, I can multiply it 10-fold, 100-fold. That's very easy to communicate. Next big thing is, can you guys execute? So you need to look at your own strengths and then identify what are the areas you guys are good at, what the gaps are.
What are the key pointers that should we keep in mind to get the right valuation for our company?
It's again a function of a lot of things. So you should be aware of what all fundings have happened last 6 to 9 months. There are some very typical benchmarks also for early stage venture like yours. If any fundings happen in a space similar to yours, that is a very key metric, because then you can quote that as a reference. Whether in India or outside, both are a useful benchmark. Ultimately, it boils down to supply and demand.
Right.
If your business is doing well and you are able to generate interest from a lot of funds, you will probably get much better valuation.
Right.
But from my experience in Myntra, I'll say I'll not optimize for valuation per se.
Yeah.
I think which fund you're getting the money from is very important. What's the mindset they have? Are they coming the short term or the long term? That's very important. What kind of other companies they've invested in, what's their portfolio and experience. That input will be extremely valuable to you.
Once the investors are on board, how do you bring distinction and clarity between their roles, your roles, and how involved will they be in day-to-day operations and things like that?
Rule of thumb is most of day-to-day execution will be left to the management team. So investors will mostly give their feedback on the strategic aspects of the business. From investor perspective, if there are more than one investor, you can try to identify if they have a relevant experience in a particular area. This person I'll go for most of my marketing questions. This person I'll go for most of supply chain questions. But don't expect too much guidance in terms of day-to-day decision making. That's probably not the right thing also.
We're completely an e-commerce company. Do you think retail can be an option for us?
Retail is a very different ball game. You need different kind of investment, different kind of expertise versus online. So I think based on our learning, my recommendation will be, if your business model can be sufficiently scaled with one channel, you should focus on that.
What more do you think we could offer our customers in terms of products, but more importantly, technology?
See, since you are primarily an online company, an e-commerce company, customer experience is absolutely crucial, right? Because your website and your product and your delivery are the only touch points a customer will have for your business. It's very early days for you, but if you can have 24/7 call center, at least 9 to 9, it's very important because the customer trust goes up.
Do you think we could also probably move into the corporate sector? Would it make sense for a company like ours?
Yeah, so corporate sector has its own pros and cons. Primarily, it can give you volumes, but the con is that you need to build your own direct sales force team, which needs to be distributed. Most corporates will do business with you only if your person can visit them in office. So which means all major cities you'll have to build a distributed sales team, which has its own challenges. Margins they tend to be a lot lower in corporates. So again, if you have a pressing need to get volumes faster, you can try to look for corporate as a potential segment. But again, my advice is that if you are able to generate enough business online, just focus on that. E-commerce is doing extremely well in the country today. All the macro level parameters are all set. So it's a great time to build a large e-commerce company in the country. One positive is that there is clear demand and need for it. In the West, it's a very clearly established model. People who go to Harvard and Stanford and Michigan State, they're able to find college, branded jerseys and T-shirts, etc. very easily. In it is very hard. No matter which college you've gone to, if you look for a college branded jersey or T-shirt, it's very, very hard to find. The one potential negative could be what's the overall size of the market. There are a certain number of colleges which are quite prestigious, the brand name is famous, but once you go beyond those, your IITs and IIMs and RECs and the National Law School, what are the other colleges? So just establishing large enough market will be a bit of a challenge for them.
Guys, here's wishing you the very best of luck. Time for us to take a break, but coming up next on the Young Turks Buzz, it's time for us to jet, set, go. Namrata Goyal up next.